All right, welcome to Blaze Weekly News Podcast. Russell Dowden here. Podcast number 233 this week as we kick off another Thursday recording of our Friday released show. Podcast number 233 this week. Good evening, Rachel. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good, good. Good morning, folks listening there on ESPN 1027 Austin. Get some sports to those folks there later in the broadcast, another hour from now. But this is our weekly hemp and cannabis show. We talk about THC products here on Blaze Weekly News every Saturday morning on ESPN Austin. And we look forward to just having a conversation with our guests this week. This week joining us, not over the cloud, but rather in studio this week, is our friend Mark Bordas with the Texas Hemp Business Council, joined by, who's also been on the shows with Mark in the past, is Nick Mortillaro with over there with Aim High Distro and Lazy Days, Austin. How are you guys?
Doing fantastic, thanks.
Cool. Well, you both have been on the show in the past together, but on the computer side, I think. Have you guys been on the show together before?
Yeah, we have.
Absolutely.
I think y'all have it. We've gotten updates from the both of you at different times, and so it's great to have you both here in studio in Round Rock. So thank you for both of you for coming in today. How's everything going? Let's talk.
It's going.
All right, no complaints. Made it through the traffic, so I'm fine.
Well, very cool. We wanted to, of course, get an update from you, Mark, on things with the legislative movement. Nick, you're very involved down there in this process. In fact, you shared with us that you were on both Spectrum News and KXAN. Did you get any interviews done yourself, Mark? I wouldn't doubt that you've been on some media.
I don't think a day's gone by where I haven't had at least one interview. So.
Well, of course, two of the heavy hitters in industry policy making, Nick as well as Mark, both involved heavily in the groundwork for legislative measures. We were really up against a dogfight with the ban bills that we all were facing, and so we kind of got out of this with a recent age gating measure that the executive office of the governor has given us. We've got some rulemaking. The news that broke this week was, of course, Mark, was the TABC making their first official rule at the governor's behest on 21 and older. Can either of you want to comment on that first, Mark, and then we'll go to Nick?
Sure, absolutely. We tried to accomplish that at the end of the second special session. We tried to provide a exit strategy with dignity for the lieutenant governor and the folks in the Senate by offering up 21 plus and then verification of 21 and above for the purchase of product, which made ultimate sense to us because that's what applies to tobacco and alcohol, of course. But they summarily dismissed the olive branch, dashed it to the ground, and then we were left with no alternative, or at least the governor was. The governor had to show who the CEO of the state actually is, and he exerted that authority, and we're thankful for that. And now we have what should have been in place for a long time. Of course, the industry's been trying to accomplish that for the past three sessions, and here we are.
Yeah, one of the real problems that I had about it, Nick, was that you had Perry literally kind of demonizing industry members who have asked for this regulation. 2-3 sessions ago, Mark, I was on the board of the Texas Hemp Coalition, and Alyssa Nolan and that group were asking for age gating measures 2 sessions ago. We had the school shooting, then there was some other things that, just hemp never got addressed in previous legislative. But what really bothered me about it, Rachel or Nick, I'll let Nick jump onto this, is that they really demonized industry members, like if it was our fault, Mark, and so can you speak to that, and then we'll pass this around?
Yeah, it's unfortunate. It's kind of politics at its worst, right? Is instead of politicians fixing something that everyone agrees is good policy, they leave it unresolved. That way they can score political points in, kind of railing against it. So I'm really glad to see this. It's awesome that the governor stepped up and did what the legislature was unwilling or unable to do. Really this just catches up state policy to where the industry already was, right? The industry was already age gating the vast
Right.
majority of good retailers out there. So it's just kind of catching up the law to where the state of affairs already is.
Yeah, anything for them?
Yeah, I totally agree with what you said about, them just like leaving it in kind of like this Wild West state and like, oh, look, they're selling to kids, even though essentially it was their own fault for not passing an age gate up
Right.
to this point. And then, that helps them build a case so that when the legislative session happens, they're like, oh, look, they're all criminals. So yeah, it's good to see that the governor made the right choice.
Well, it's never good to be a political piñata, right? We absorbed a lot of body blows, mischaracterizations, and so we survived. So kudos to the industry. Everybody circled the wagons, and we made it out. But
it's not
wasn't
over.
easy. No, it's not over.
I feel like we're just in this weird like standstill territory right now.
Well, actually, we're moving forward fairly quickly with the emergency rules by the TABC, and DSHS is to follow. And of course, with emergency rules, you get 120 days, and they can extend by an additional 60. But where the rubber's really going to hit the road is what are we going to do about the permanent orders, or the rules rather, which have the power of law. They become the law of the land. So that's where the industry needs to be engaged and attentive. Exert ourselves and pay attention. And the process is a little different, but again, it carries the force of law. So we have to be attentive.
It feels more like a batting cage, like we've just been in a batting cage for 9 months.
It feels more like a dunking booth.
yeah, we've all been. Well, I think and we've said this on previous shows, and I think that I will say that, following all of this year, I mean, I'm pretty much a novice, to the political process down there on Congress Avenue. But man, we've all learned so much in the last. I mean, we didn't really get engaged. I didn't get engaged as much in the previous sessions, Mark, even though members, clients, and colleagues, and but this year was a real fight for our lives, and so I think a lot of us that have sat back on the sidelines in previous years and on the retail side, it's certainly a big growing experience for all, a learning experience for everybody.
Well, and it's even broader than that if you think about it, because Texas is the bell cow for red states, and second most populous state in the country. And so if we had lost here, that would have had ramifications across the country. So it was very important for everyone, and not just us here locally.
Yeah, I think everybody, we talked about that last week on the show, as goes Texas. The rest of the country is really, really watching.
Yeah, and especially federally right now, there is a lot of movement federally.
Yeah, we could talk about that maybe on the other side. I want to plug your vending machine was mentioned in the newspaper. Talk about New Vend.
Yeah,
This
that's
is
right.
we got to go to a break in about 2 minutes, but I thought that was super cool that you shared this, and I don't know if producer Carl can get this up now, but at least by the time we get back from break, your vending machine is one of these technologies, Nick, that really helps the industry look good when you show that, hey, this has got age gating measures implemented as the 21 age verification came law earlier in the week on Tuesday. Both Spectrum News and I think KXAN came out to give you a visit. Tell us about your week with your media tour this week.
Yeah, well, it's great because lawmakers and these state regulators are finally realizing that we can use technology, tools that already exist, such as facial recognition, and facial matching, to help enforce these regulations, right? And we don't have to kind of rewrite the book on enforcement and in these regulations, but use technology that's coming out that is very robust, that is trackable, is traceable. They can audit to show that we want to be an industry that is only selling to adults, 21 and up, and not just verifying age, right? Most people think of age verification as, I give my ID to the attendant, they look at the date, they look, yep, that looks like him, you're good to go. The next step beyond that is actually scanning the ID or swiping the ID. But now those can even be faked. So the true ultimate test of age verification is to actually match that ID with a DMV record of the actual person, and then use facial recognition to prove that the ID being presented is the person that is standing in front of it. For example, a little brother could use his older brother's ID to go and buy alcohol at the store. It's a real ID, right? It'll scan. It's a legitimate ID, but it's not really him, right? It's his older brother. This machine knows the difference between that.
Yeah.
So it really is kind of the next step in evolution of the technology we have today, making a safer, better regulated industry. And I'm really hoping that the regulators embrace that.
Yeah, it was really positive to anytime that gets. See, they weren't giving you that coverage during Perry's Imperial March campaign against hemp and products, or Dan Patrick raiding stores, or getting ID'd himself down at Happy Cactus. So it's great to see that kind of positivity finally get covered, with the industry as we get into the age gating part of the process now. So good stuff, guys. We're going to take a quick break. Blaze Weekly News will continue on the other side with our guests, Nick and Mark. And we're going to continue the political policy football around the room for the next 30 minutes or so. And let's learn a little bit more about regulation and policy as we get through the rest of this 2025. What a hell of a year we've had. Blaze Weekly News. Be right back on the other side.
It might feel good, it might sound a little something, but damn the game if it don't mean nothing. What is game? Who got game? Where's the game in life? Behind the game, behind the game. I got game, she got game, we got game, they got game, he got game. It might feel good, it might sound a little something, but fuck the game if it ain't saying nothing.
Green Botanicals, your #1 source for CBD, THC, and hemp-based products in Texas. Located in New Braunfels, Seguin, and San Antonio, Texas. Our CBD dispensary offers state and federally legal THC. Green Botanicals has been voted best CBD dispensary in New Braunfels, Texas, offering gummies, flower, beverages, and alternative medicine that is ushering in a greener future to the Lone Star State. Green Botanicals is your #1 source for education on the health and wellness benefits of THCA, CBD, and other legal hemp products in New Braunfels, Seguin, San Antonio, and the surrounding areas. Showcasing the best hemp flower bar in Texas. Stop on by and let our knowledgeable staff guide you in the right direction. Stop by our store or visit us online at greenbotanicals.com. That's GRUENE, botanicals.com. Blazefest is coming this October from your friends at Blazed Magazine and the Blazed Weekly News Podcast. As we near the harvest season this fall, the Blazed Media team is proud to introduce our annual fall Halloween event, Blazed Fest, with live music, costumes, cannabis, culture, and some friendly competition. Try our speed rolling contest, the smoke cannon competition, and our stoner films. Celebrate the plant with Blazed Magazine this October 25th with live music from Micah Shalom, Dubeke, and Amplified Heat at Shiner's Saloon. What happens when you mix 420 with harvest season and Halloween? Blazed Fest. That's what. Get blazed on the roof. October 25th at Shiner's Saloon Rooftop. Limited booth spaces available for vendors. Email blazed@blazenews.com for more information. Stay informed, stay true, and stay blazed.
Like the wind blowing through your hair. Well, come on, roll with me till the sun goes
All right,
down.
welcome back to Blaze Weekly News, podcast 233 on the podcast this week. And you coming back there, we had a little spot there for our Blazefest. That is, again, coming up as our Halloween party. There we go, Carl. Thank you. Blazefest, October 25th, down there at the Shiner Saloon. Yeah, Shiner Saloon on the 5th in Congress. And we're going to have a live music up there. Some of the bands that we've had in the magazine in recent months are the ones that we picked. Cool. So we're going to have some live music, celebrate the plant. It's kind of harvest season, and I think it's a good time of year to do that. Normally, our friends at Grow House do that event that they do, but they're not doing it this year.
Really?
Yeah, they're waiting. They're not doing their, what is that called? They do
the Taste of Texas Hemp
the Hemp Cup. Yeah, they normally do. Liz and Patrick always do the Hemp Cup, but they didn't. They're not doing it this year, and I have intentionally not wanted to do an event for 5 years. So
the other one was that good, huh? The previous one.
I just don't. It's a lot of work doing those, and I'm not an event guy, but I do them occasionally and have over the years. But we thought, hey, after 5 years we will have an event, so we're gonna do it for Halloween. And Blazefest is my answer for my event for the fall, and we're just gonna do it, I guess, since I don't think there was anything else going on.
There you
Is
go.
it a costume party?
Yeah, well, it is the Saturday before Halloween, so
You
we've
should
encouraged.
have a costume contest. Like, you have to be like a weed themed.
Well, we are encouraging costumes, and we may have a crowd reaction for the best costume.
Yeah.
We are doing a speed rolling contest, and I'm also doing, just so you know, there's the cannon. What is it when you get inside of the
gosh.
smoke? We're gonna do a smoke cannon competition. So if you have a smoke cannon at your smoke shop and you'd like to be a part of the Blazed Fest, email me at blazenews.com and maybe we can get your cannon there. I know we've got friends like Green Botanicals has a cannon. So does our friends at Dama Botanicals. I know Austin Night Cannabis Company has one as well. So we're trying to get some of the store owners, if they've got the cannon, come on the rooftop on the 25th at Shiner Saloon, and you'll get to see who's got the best cannon. So anyway, we'll learn more about that in the coming weeks ahead. But back to the show. Again, my guest this week, Mark Bordas, serves again as the executive director for the Hemp Business Council and is their lead lobbyist over there. And fire off the website, Mark. Just tell folks how they can get involved with you guys first and foremost. Again,
Well, I mean, it's as simple as that. It's the TexasHempBusinessCouncil.com. You're going to find us there, and a lot of good information. And we try and keep our folks apprised of what's going on in the process. And as a matter of fact, we just had a board meeting today and brought folks up to speed as to what's happening and what they can expect in the coming months.
well, here's the website. Carl has that queued up. I understand you guys may be working on maybe a fundraising deal later in the year. Is that something? Have you all announced that yet, or?
No, I announced it to you,
Oh.
and now it's been leaked.
Oh gosh.
Well, that's all right.
Me and my
That's
big
okay.
mouth.
Now I guess we've got to go through with it. You'd better be there, the both of you. So that's okay.
Well, of course, we'd be happy to show up and cover anything like this. But I think that a lot of us, and this is partly why we were doing a party, Mark. It was just kind of, hey, we really went through a heck of a run there, Nick, with all of the stuff. The industry was very a lot of uncertainty, Mark. It was pretty brutal, man.
Listen, we have cause, reason to celebrate.
Yeah.
We had the most powerful political figure in Texas that had us in his sights, right? The Senate was a fait accompli. We were never going to get out of there alive. We had to fight hard in the House, and look at us now. So all things considered, I think we did quite well, and we do need to take time to take a deep breath, congratulate ourselves, pat ourselves on the back, but then get ready for what's next.
And what is next? I mean, what can we expect in the coming weeks?
Well, I can tell you this with certainty. The TABC, which just did the emergency rules, next has a stakeholder meeting scheduled for the 9th.
Okay.
So people are going to be in the room, and it's going to be an honest and robust discussion of what folks think needs to happen next, right? And then we're still waiting for dishes, that the other shoes to drop there.
Yeah.
So
I thought they had like 10 days to come up with something, and that was like 15 days ago.
somebody ought to alert them, Rachel. You ought to give them a call over
Because
there.
I've been
You know what I'm
sitting here
saying?
waiting. I've been thinking, man, and news is going to drop any minute. Of
Yeah.
like some big
No, but you're right, Mark. There's a deadline coming up on that dishes
there is.
stuff in October, I believe.
But yet, I don't want to raise my hand and ask for the homework.
Yeah, no, me neither.
They're going into the weekend.
I just know it's due. I just know the assignment's due.
They're tough graders too.
Well, it's really cool that you kind of came, Mark, from you came over from the alcohol side after 20 years on that side of the business.
Yeah, how dare you, Russell? Yeah, I had a couple tonight, but
no,
I'm just kidding.
No, but we've seen the industry, be under fire from alcohol and maybe even pharmaceutical or large, maybe marijuana. We've talked about
pharmaceuticals. Lieutenant governor.
Yeah, we've seen these these firing points coming at the hemp industry. This has got to be an interesting for you. I mean, that fight very well, and how that fight is in alcohol. So,
sure.
How has that experience transcended over into representing our industry in this side? I'd gotta say that's got to be an interesting perspective.
Yeah, no, it is, and it's a different perspective, right? Yeah. So I was always protecting alcohol, and now I'm on the other side protecting against alcohol and their interests. So I know some of the plays in the playbook, and I know what to expect, right?
Yeah.
So that's been very helpful. I know the players too, so we have plenty of dialogue. We exchange information still, even though we're on opposite sides. I like to think we're still professionals. We don't take it personally, although some people in the process, not to name names, and I will not name names, did take it rather personally and made it into personal attacks on the industry. We still have good dialogue, and so I always remained optimistic throughout the entire process, and we've survived, but we have work to do.
There were lawmakers that met with various groups during all of this process, but it was the governors that opened up his doors in the last few weeks. There, industry members, Nick, got to meet with the governor, hear policy. I've seen images with your team got down there with some to meet with the governor. There seemed like we got some encouraging. At the very end there, Nick, what can you speak to that? Just because it started to, after the veto of SB3, we absolutely knew where the governor stood, and he called for regulation not once but twice with the two special sessions, and so it seemed at some point where industry members began to have a little more confidence in the regulatory process that the governor called for, and can you speak to that because things did. The sun did come out and shine a little.
Absolutely.
And I might get both your thoughts on that process.
Yeah, the governor showed real, true Texas leadership, in my opinion. And when the legislature showed, first getting a ban to his desk, he vetoed it. He said, come back with, more nuanced policy, something that's reasonable regulation, which is what everybody wants. And they failed to do so in 2 consecutive special sessions. He showed he really has the leadership to say, all right, well, if the legislature is going to fail to get this to my desk, I'm going to do this as best he can through executive authority, which was, the right thing to do. Everyone agrees that, it should be 21 and up for adults to access these compounds. The industry is already doing that, but he formalized that in a very strong executive order. And then instructed those state agencies, DSHS, which we're currently regulated under, and TABC, which is going to enact some of the enforcement of those rules, to use the power that they already have to better enforce these laws. So I think it's honestly a great outcome, Mark. I think that's basically everything we could have asked for.
Yeah, I'd equate our governor to a modern-day Atticus Finch from To Kill a Mockingbird. The mob was ready to kill hemp, right?
Right.
They were storming the jail, yet there was a guy with reason and rule of law, and he said, hey, step back and think about it, and this should be regulated, and we need to do this thoughtfully and methodically, and this is a viable industry, and people who use it ought to have the opportunity to use it, but it ought to be adults, right? and used responsibly. So I think that's the track that we're on, and we are really fortunate and blessed to have him as the CEO of our state.
Yeah, I was speaking to Kerry Hinkle last week on the program. He said that he is, in his talking with members of the Congress in Washington, that was a really breath of fresh air, the leadership that Abbott had showed. So that's a good thing on the federal side to see that, as you know, people watch what Texas do.
Eventually,
as you said.
the facts catch up with raw emotion. And that's what the other side has, right? They
Yes.
demonize us, marginalize us, and then you're like, whoa, let's step back, take a deep breath, and look at the facts. And they go, oh, well, maybe you're not that bad after all. So I think that's where we're at. But the other side, our opponents got out in front of this early, right, to attack us. So
Yeah. Well, stay right there. This was a quick segment here, and we're going to take another commercial break, and we'll come back and we'll learn a little bit more and talk about policy and what lies ahead. And, you know, I know there's some movement things going on the federal level that's very concerning. Maybe we can talk about that if you guys want. I know that's a concern. But let's have a party.
We should.
let's have a
what
party.
a great idea. Maybe you could be there, too.
Yeah, your turn to host.
And we'll tell you, we're going to have one next month for sure for Halloween. I know that our friends at the Hemp Business Council also want to have a party. So we'll tell you about some parties in the coming weeks. But I'm Russell. She's Rachel. Stay right there, guys. We'll be right back. Blaze Weekly News on the other side. ESPN Austin.
But I ain't gonna let it slide when you're mean to me. I know the love that I deserve, and I hope you find yourself before I find somebody else to be my love.
There you go.
At Happy THC Beverages, we're on a mission to bring plant medicine to the people. Accessible, functional, and undeniably delicious. Built for balance, our beverages blend bold flavor with feel-good ingredients that support your body, mind, and mood. Competing in the Texas THC Challenge this year. You'll want to try our happy flavors like Sublime, Grateful Grape, Cherry, and Groovy Grapefruit. Our fast-acting THC and CBD blends for a perfect balance with no alcohol, no hangover, and no regrets. THC and mushroom beverages that hit just right. Plant-powered happiness in every sip for a full-body feel-good. Happy THC, all natural, wellness-focused ingredients, flavor-first experience in every sip. Now available in Texas. Visit us online at drinkhappy.com. That's drink, HAPPIE.com. Feel good about feeling good. drinkhappy.com.
Sergi & Associates specialize in cannabis and hemp law cases here in Texas. Has your store been raided? Do you require municipal litigation? Seeking to trademark your brand? David Sergi is an international cannabis lawyer, and he represents businesses throughout the cannabis industry. Sergi represents clients across the United States and is regularly quoted on cannabis matters in the media. The new website from his team is txhemplaw.com. If you're new to the Texas market and hemp or cannabis industry, look no further than Sergi & Associates. Their legal team offers a broad range of legal practices, providing cost-effective, top-shelf legal representation with a big firm punch in a personal, small firm environment, specializing in hemp, criminal, business structure law, and civil litigation. Texas hemp laws are always evolving. Call Sergi & Associates at 512-392-5010. That's 512-392-5010. Or visit txhemplaw.com.
Here we go.
In this whole world, you know, there are millions of boys and girls who are
Welcome back to Blazed Weekly News Podcast. This is our 233rd episode of our cannabis podcast, formerly the Texas Hemp Show, now Blazed Weekly News, as part of our 2025 rebrand. We will continue the political football around the room, talking with Nick Mortillaro with with the Leaf and Legend store, and of course, home of Botanic Bliss Lounge in the back there, right, Nick?
That's right. That's right. That's our studio.
Yes, it is. It's quite a fun little place too, as well. In fact, when we were in session, a lot of us hung out down there.
Yeah.
And you guys had a little Aim High Distro party there. I think afterwards over there. I would thank you for inviting us to that. By the way, whoever did the food of that thing was amazing.
I know.
The catering for that food was like, it was so beautiful, like you didn't even want to touch it. No, welcome back to the show, guys. Again, Blazed Weekly News. I'm Russell. She's Rachel. We work together on the Blazed magazine that's available in 300 stores in Austin and another 250 stores in San Antonio and Houston. And we have our weekly show here. We talk about the political football of hemp and THC products. There's a cover of our latest edition that our coverage of the Champs trade show a week or two ago. We were down there hanging out, making the rounds, just kind of really, that all happened right, Mark, when that edict came from our governor to
the
get
executive order on Tuesday.
That all was happening right as Champs was going on. So very celebratory a week that week with the after parties and things going on. But thanks for the magazine plug there on.
And go watch my haul. I saw it on Instagram, my video where...
Oh, yeah, Rachel's report on Champs is also on YouTube. If you probably the next video up after this if you watch that. But anyway, just great covering this industry. Now in our 5th year, let's talk a little national policy here in this next segment with either Mark or Nick. Which one of you want to take something first here, Nick, and talk about last week? I just know from our... last week's guest, now working for Bayou City Hemp, but used to be with the U.S. Hemp Roundtable. We used to check in with them often on that. We talked about the Mitch McConnell, and they're trying to. I don't. Is it redefine what hemp is, or just ban it? Where are they at on that? Because still trying to understand and wrap my head around this federal thing. Just as soon as you celebrate Mark on the state level, then we're right back in the dogfight. On the federal side. Yeah, they pull me back in and say Godfather says, or who was that? Not Godfather. Was that Godfather? Godfather Part 3. But tell us, Nick. Give us a little insight on what's going on with McConnell and the Senate.
Yeah, so we had an update call with the U.S. Hemp Roundtable today.
Okay.
And so this is pretty fresh information. It is happening right now. But essentially, the 2018 Farm Bill is what legalized hemp federally, nationwide, right? And those farm bills are typically renewed every 5 years. But in 2023, when it was up for a renewal, they weren't able to agree upon a budget. Which has been happening a lot lately. Mm-hmm. So federally, what they do is a CR, or a continuing resolution.
That's right.
Where they say, hey, let's just kick the can down the road one more year, right? So we're just going to copy and paste, basically, the language from the 2018 bill, and they did a CR in 23 and again in 24. In both of those years, some language popped up. First, it was the Mary Miller Amendment.
That's right.
And now it is this language kind of from McConnell and Andy Harris, I believe, out of Maryland, that basically redefines hemp to exclude any detectable amount of THC. Any. Not 0.3, not 0.000001, not 10 parts per billion, but any, which would essentially ban hemp because it is not possible scientifically to remove minute traces.
Doesn't that sound like a familiar play from the play?
Yeah.
Haven't we seen that?
Yeah,
Haven't we bought a ticket to that play before?
We have seen this movie before.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
And so you'd be foolish to think that this isn't completely orchestrated. And who's orchestrating it? I don't know. I mean, I've got some good ideas, but that's exactly what we went through here.
Yeah, it is, and I'm sure you have some ideas because you you may have seen this playbook a time or two in your past, but gosh, it's just and then there's no faith in this rescheduling thing, according to my guest last week, Carrie Hinkle. It just didn't seem like they've been kicking that can around for years, Nick, on whether they reschedule or not. Rachel, any thoughts on your side, or just to contribute to this conversation?
We just need to deschedule. That's my opinion on that.
I have to say, if I had to make a prediction, any rescheduling will come before the midterm elections, where the party in power usually takes a bath, right? They lose seats. But this is a highly popular issue. And Trump, whether you love him or hate him,
somebody's got to jump on this.
I don't think he'll miss the opportunity. So while it's not going to happen soon enough for some of us, I think it will happen. I think there's a very good chance of this happening before the midterms.
What do you think Trump's going to do?
Well, then think about it. The birthday of the nation mark is next year. That makes us 250.
And who was a hemp farmer? There's some of our founding fathers were hemp farmers, were they not?
Yeah, that's a great time to point out that.
And colonial citizens, they were legally required to grow hemp if they owned like a certain amount of land.
That's right. That's right.
So it would be very
it's
fitting.
a part of our history, and we need to recognize that. And maybe I'm just saying with the timeliness of before the midterms.
I don't see him missing the opportunity, but we'll see. But mark it down, episode 233.
Yeah, we said it here on 233.
Called the shot.
Let's see, next year it'll be 312 or something. We'll be talking about this again. But no, thank you both for being on the show this week, and I think it's just to give your insight, on this. It was hell of a bumpy session, man. Where do we see? What are guys like Charles Perry and our lieutenant governor? Will these charades come back, Nick? Will we see this again? I mean,
they're already leaning on DSHS to put this exact same language, total THC, which would include THCA in the calculation of the 0.03%. Effectively, it sounds wonky, but it's very simple. They're banning hemp.
But isn't there TROs and there's lawsuits that can, isn't there things, Mark, that can be done that can, stop that process? I was having a conversation with one of my writers the other day, and, we were making the argument that we didn't think that could happen because it's still a federally legal product, and if we've gotten out of the session, I don't know. It seems like that's going to end up in a courtroom.
Well, and again, the definition is the building block for everything else, right? We need to protect the definition of what hemp is, and from there, everything else will flow out. But that is the essential building block, and that's the third rail for us.
Yeah, one of the things that scares me the most is the possibility of THCA coming down to the 0.3% threshold.
Yep.
That would just be devastating.
It would. It's effectively a ban on THC.
And, I'm curious about, you guys said there's a stakeholder meeting coming up. Who are the stakeholders that get to be invited to this meeting? Will either of you be there?
Oh, yeah. I'll definitely be there.
So you're going to fight for the THCA.
Listen, we fight for all categories. Some people tried to split different categories from the herd or give preferential treatment. We made a pledge to people that joined our organization that we would fight for all categories, and we'll continue to do so.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll brag on Mark a little bit because he won't do it for himself, but he knows these people. I saw right after the last TABC meeting, he's on a first name basis with some of these TABC commissioners, directors, agents. We're gonna do very well under his leadership. I'm certain of that.
Thanks, and I love working with Nicholas. I'm gonna throw one back his way, a compliment back his way, because we benefit from hanging out with one another. I mean, he knows the product like I don't know, and I know the process like he doesn't know. But the good thing about us, neither of us suffers from an ego, and as long as the industry wins, that's what it's all about.
Well, I remember working with both of you earlier in the year, as early as March. We had that special edition that we came out of the Hemp Reporter back in March that was for kind of lawmakers, and I remember both of you guys were working together, early on in the session. So I just, speaking to that, I just remember that both of y'all were on emails late at night, getting ready for stuff that was going on at one of the hearings, I think, and you guys were just on the same page. So, kudos to both of you.
Thanks for recognizing that.
Yeah.
Thanks for pointing that out.
I know it's really comforting to know there are people like you guys fighting the fight on the front lines for the industry.
It's going to take
awesome.
everybody working together, united to get this win, because Lord knows our opposition is certainly united against us.
Yeah.
Well, what can you both speak to, just given the dogfight we were just in with the session? Where do you think we stand, Mark, as an industry? Are we more? Is there more unity given this session than previous? I know everybody's got different sides of.
I wish I could say that were the case, but there's still, I think, towards the end, I think a lot of people, I talked to a lot of people, fielded a lot of phone calls from different people representing different groups. And I think we all work together to get this across the finish line. Now that the dust is cleared, I still feel like in some instances, certainly not here, but there's some professional jealousies, and people are trying to claim that they did it or whatever. And it certainly, we all work together. But, day in and day out, I mean, we were there, and we're going to continue to be there. And that's why our organization, the Texas Hemp Business Council, was formed, because I've got over 30, I don't even want to add to the number, 30 years plus, let's just say, experience. And this is what we do, right? This is what we are built for. And so we're not daunted by the task. We know there's a lot in front of us, but with people like Nicholas and people that don't suffer from ego or too high of a sense of self-worth, we can get this done. And I think we will all come together again when the rubber hits the road.
Let's get it done.
Let's get her done. That's what we need to do. And no, good conversation, guys, as we go to another commercial break, coming up with our final segment here on Blazed Weekly News. We're going to continue the great conversation as we learn a little more about the regulatory issues that are challenges that are facing us in the coming weeks. But again, Nick Mortillaro with us, along with Mark Bordas from the Texas Hemp Business Council. She's Rachel, I'm Russell. We'll be right back. We got one more segment with you, and then we'll get you out of here to some football fans. And one more segment, we talk about hemp and THC here in the Lone Star State. Blaze Weekly News, we'll be right back.
Blazefest is coming this October from your friends at Blazed Magazine and the Blazed Weekly News Podcast. As we near the harvest season this fall, the Blazed Media team is proud to introduce our annual fall Halloween event, Blazed Fest, with live music, costumes, cannabis, culture, and some friendly competition. Try our speed rolling contest, the smoke cannon competition, and our stoner films. Celebrate the plant with Blazed Magazine this October 25th with live music from Micah Shalom, Dubeke, and Amplified Heat at Shiner's Saloon. What happens when you mix 420 with harvest season and Halloween? Blazed Fest. That's what. Get blazed on the roof. October 25th at Shiner's Saloon Rooftop. Limited booth spaces available for vendors. Email blazed@blazenews.com for more information. Stay informed, stay true, and stay blazed. Dama Botanicals is proud to support the Texas cannabis industry and the work of Blazed Magazine and the Blazed Weekly News Podcast. Dama Botanicals is on a mission to advocate for the education of our community and the destigmatization of cannabis and hemp. We do that by providing high-quality products and services to Austin, Texas, and surrounding areas. Local, loud with Austin roots. Visit DamaBotanicals.com now and use promo code STOCKYOURSTASH and save 20% off your entire order. Hemp is legal for now in Texas, so come on by our store at 1311 South 1st Street in Austin or visit DamaBotanicals.com. Community-driven brands like Dama Botanicals are here until the wheels fall off. Stay informed, stay positive, stay blazed. DamaBotanicals.com. That's DamaBotanicals.com.
Welcome back to Blaze Weekly News. This is podcast number 233 this week. We continue to toss the THC hemp football around the room here this week, talking policy with Mark Bordas of the Texas Hemp Business Council and Nick Mortillaro with Aim High Distribution. Nick also has the Leafs and Legends store down there at 1701 Guadalupe. Is that right, Nick? Let me bring your mic up there. Yeah, you're down there right across the street from the courthouse. That's the closest smoke shop CBD store.
It is. We are
to
the
capital.
closest licensed hemp retailer in the state to the nation, to the state capital.
Man, that is some serious bragging rights.
Hey, that is why we're highly compliant.
And it's a great place.
Yeah, no fooling. You're across the street from the courthouse and then absolutely behind the Capitol. So, but everybody's been compliant, and I think that's one of the talking points that we really tried to get through to lawmakers, Mark, is that industry has already been age gating. I mean, you guys have been doing that anyway since inception, Nick. I know, and wasn't that cute when Happy Cactus ID'd the Dan Patrick down there trying to, fishing for trouble, and found himself getting ID'd.
Yep.
Exactly right.
They did the right thing.
It was beautiful.
Well, what's the any now that I put through the mission out there of an event, is there any ideas you and your team have a date on any of that? They didn't get that. Was that a meeting discussed a date at all?
That was discussed today at the board meeting.
Did they say November, October?
TBD.
Oh, TBD.
I'm sure it's going to be more like November, perhaps early December.
Well, I don't care when they have it. It can have it before our event. I just told George, let's not do it on the same day.
Right. And I also heard you demanded your name be on the marquee out front. So.
I don't mind coming and speaking or podcasting. We usually podcasted those kind of things.
That's where I first met you both.
Yeah, that's right.
Something up in Dallas.
It was the Texas Cannabis Roundup.
Yes.
Oh, that's right.
And I had
Legendary.
no idea I was going to be on stage, and they pulled me out. Yeah.
Guys, there was so many things that our industry didn't get. Like, we didn't get this year the roundup that Dalton does. We didn't get Heather Fazio's policy. That been posted?
Texas Cannabis Policy Conference is coming back
February,
I believe.
But it is next year.
That's right.
A lot of things that were happening in the fall or the summer, Mark, they just didn't happen because
we were a bit preoccupied.
Yes, we were. We were in a dogfight.
Yeah.
So and that's partly, I guess, because no one's doing anything else. That's kind of why I decided just to throw one myself next month. But what else? Bumpy 89th legislative session. We're still not out of this thing yet, Mark. What do we need to be vigilant for just in the next couple of weeks as we move into the fall? I
mean, this is it. We've been talking about it. It's all about rule promulgations. It's about what's going to come down from dishes on an emergency order, and then what do we do to shape the future of the industry in the permanent orders that have, the power of law. So,
it's like, before it's like, oh, everybody call your rep. Like, now what can we do?
Oh, you can call your federal rep.
Okay.
Well,
there we
that's
go.
going on, but but we heard today, Rand Paul said, keep your powder dry, right? The boy who called wolf, right? You can only do it so many times. There will be a time and a place for that, and there will be a time and place for folks within the industry to engage during this rulemaking process. So hang in there, because it's not all going to be insider baseball. There's still a way to influence this process by the folks that are within the industry.
Yeah, because we've all been notified for hearings and such here with all of the Senate or House hearings here in Texas. So everybody's gotten together. So yeah, that's a great question, Rachel, because I didn't think to ask that, and I'm sure a lot of people are wondering, will we get a chance to voice those opinions? But that is coming, Mark.
Absolutely, there'll be time for public comment, and that's when we'll hit them, and they'll hear from folks from the industry again. And I have no doubt everybody's going to step up once again.
Yeah. Well, again, the good news this week is that we did get the age gating measure for 21 and older. These products are now legal for adults in Texas, and enforcing that on October 1st. But they are, but it in fact kicked in on Tuesday.
Yep.
And but not enforcing, I was told, I believe, until the 1st of October.
Absolutely right.
On that, so that's a win for industry. What else? We got a few minutes left, Rachel. You got anything for them?
I mean, it's just what a whirlwind. That's all I can say. Like, just looking back on the past year, I think the industry, it's not that, maybe, we've come together in some senses, but I would describe it more as like a trauma bond.
Yeah, what have you got? What have you got there, Nick?
I brought a little show and tell to mark
on
the new age requirements.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go.
Which
21.
again, everybody was already doing anyway.
A gadget.
But in this era of being very visual about your compliance, we just have these 21 and up calendars. It makes it really easy for the bud tender who's behind the bar to see the date on the back here. That the customer needs to be, and makes it very visual for the customer coming in.
That's
knowing,
cool.
Oh, I need to be 21 to buy these products. This is a very legit shop.
Yes.
I mentioned to members in one of the groups. It might have been a WhatsApp group. Might have been your group, Mark. I don't know which one of them. Both y'all have groups that y'all are. I'm a member of both of y'all's groups, but I know that I came up with an idea that we should have a campaign where retail store owners, industry members, are just all being filmed with a 1.5 second 21 and up. We're for 21. Just a 21 and up campaign would have been a good move during session. But now that we have that, it still might not be a bad idea to roll out some kind of a media campaign that discusses that. Have you thought of that, Mark? I mean, I mentioned that before, and we never got that.
Well, I don't know if we'll owe you any royalties, but yeah, it's been discussed. I don't know who came first in this instance.
Sure.
Yeah, it's bantied around, but we'd like to think, as we've all alluded to, that most of the licensees were doing the right thing throughout. But it's.
I think y'all did one on social media that was very similar to that, where you had everyone talked about being 21, and the agent and the members of the business council, I think, may have done that. On social media, but that's just something that's good for the industry. Coming up with positive campaigns and moving forward is something that we just all need to be vigilant about, and keeping the full court press on. As you said, Mark, it's the game's not over.
Right, and it's an opportunity to wear the white hat, just like 21 plus, right?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of the brown turban.
Well, very cool. We would love to learn more about your event whenever you guys want to make that announcement.
You'll all be invited.
But we look forward to that. I did speak to George earlier today about it, and we're happy to hear when that's going to happen. You guys can, maybe Carl can run maybe that B-roll of this upcoming event we're doing down there at Shiner Saloon. Is going to be the Blazefest. We've never thrown an event. And so kudos to colleagues of mine, like our friends at Grow House, Patrick and Liz. They do this 4, 5, 6 times a year, and I just don't have the stomach for it. But this one isn't going to be that painful. We're just going to get together, have some music, celebrate the plant, and that's a Blazefest. I don't know if you've got the graphic. Maybe you can just share that. Carl will be fine. But again, join us down there at that is going to be at the 6th and Congress. We're down there at what's the venue called again? Shiner Saloon, October 25th. That's a Saturday, guys. So the Saturday before Halloween is the last Saturday before Halloween. So that's the weekend you want to kind of get together and have a Halloween party. So come on, come down there and join us down there, and if you have any questions, send us an email. But we'd love to see you guys down there. And we're going to be doing the smoke cannon. And then what else? I want to do a rolling contest. You ever done a rolling contest, Rachel?
No, I have not. Can I bring a cone with like my cone boss and like put the funnel and do it that way?
You certainly may. I don't even know if I can roll faster or not anymore, but I've seen that being done. Have you seen
Are you
that,
out of
Nick?
practice? You have
Have
time.
you guys seen those ever down the road? I don't know. That's kind of a crazy
All I
thing.
know is I don't manufacture inhalables in the state of Texas.
Oh yeah, true
Amen.
that. You know, I've been having fun being a judge for the Beverage Challenge
Oh, that's
because
cool.
There we go.
every night, you know, I'm cracking one open, I'm giving it a chance, I'm recording, you know, my thoughts, and there's just some really good drinks going on. So.
Well, it's just the overall as we get out of here, you know, the industry is just healthy. It's just really cool to see where we're at with all the products and all the industry. And we've survived this thing with this special sessions. Now we've got some rulemaking process to go through. Thank you both for being on the show, Nick and Mark with the Hemp Business Council. Thank you for giving us some insight this week, guys. We appreciate you both coming into the studio as well this week.
Yeah, and thank you both for all you do for the industry. We appreciate you
Thank
and the
you.
opportunity.
Well, thank you guys. I don't know what we got cooking next week. I don't really have that. Who's on next week? I don't know, but we'll be doing this again. Just rest assured. And thank you. Give us a like, give us a follow. If you have anything you'd like to say in the comments, leave us a comment down below. And look forward to seeing you guys all out there at the upcoming Blazefest later this year. Carl, what's that? Anyway, Carl's chiming in for something there, but we will be down there at the Shiner Saloon. Check us out this October 25th down there. Blaze Weekly News. I'm Russell. She's Rachel. We'll see you next week, guys.